វិតដ៏ឆ្លាតវៃលោកលោកស្រីប្រិមត្តទូរទស្សនិកជនជាទីមេត្រីនៅវេលាថ្ងៃត្រង់ថ្ងៃទី8ខែឧសភាក្រោយពីបញ្ចប់ទៅនៃកិច្ចប្រជុំកម្ពុជាចង្អៀតមិនចំហរបស់កិច្ចប្រជុំកម្ពុជាអាស៊ានលើកទី18សម្ដេចអគ្គមហាសេនាបតីតេជោហ៊ុនសែននាយករដ្ឋមន្ត្រីនៃព្រះរាជាណាចក្រកម្ពុជាបានអញ្ជើញមានប្រសាសន៍ទៅកាន់អ្នកសារព័ត៌មានអន្តរជាតិនៅមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលសារព័ត៌មានក្នុងសាលសន្និសីទទីក្រុងហ្សាកាតាទាក់ទិនទៅនឹងលទ្ធផលនៃការអញ្ជើញចូលរួមកិច្ចប្រជុំអាស៊ានលើកទី18នៅទីក្រុងហ្សាកាតាប្រទេសឥណ្ឌូនេស៊ីពិសេសទាក់ទិនទៅនឹងចំនួននៅតំបន់ព្រំដែនកម្ពុជាថៃសន្និសីទសារព័ត៌មានរបស់សម្ដេចតេជោនាយករដ្ឋមន្ត្រីមានខ្លឹមសារដូចតទៅ
លោកខ្ញុំសូមសម្ដែងស្វាគមន៍ពីអគ្គរដ្ឋាភិបាលរបស់លោកលោកស្រីមានអាជ្ញាទាំងអស់ដែលបានចូលរួមនៅក្នុងសន្និសីទសារព័ត៌មានរបស់ខ្ញុំ
First of all, I would like to express a warm welcome to all of you to participate in this press conference.
ជាការកម្រដែលខ្ញុំនឹងធ្វើសន្និសីទសារក៏ប៉ុន្តែវាមានការចាំបាច់ដើម្បីជម្រាបជូនដល់លោកលោកស្រីនិងកញ្ញាលើបញ្ហាខ្លះ
It is very rare that I hold a press conference, but this time is something I need to share with you.
គេបានដឹងហើយថាបញ្ហាព្រំដែនកម្ពុជាថៃគឺជាចំនួនមួយដែលនាំទៅដល់ការល្អកកនៅក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌអាស៊ានរបស់យើងហើយជាបញ្ហាប្រឈមនៃការឈានឆ្ពោះទៅរកការបង្កើតសហគមន៍នៅឆ្នាំ2015
Everyone knows that the problem of the Cambodian Thai borders, has been spoiled the ASEAN atmosphere and also create the challenge for ASEAN, which is now working towards the building of the communities by the year 2015.
ក្នុងស្មារតីជាគ្រួសារអាស៊ានការខិតខំរបស់ប្រធានអាស៊ានបានប្រព្រឹត្តទៅតាំងពីខែកុម្ភៈរហូតមកដល់ពេលនេះ
Within ASEAN spirit, the chair of ASEAN has been trying to work out these issues since February until now.
ថ្ងៃ22ខែកុម្ភៈនៅទីក្រុងហ្សាកាតានេះគឺរដ្ឋប្រទេសការបរទេសអាស៊ានបានសម្រេចទាក់ទិននឹងការបញ្ជូនអ្នកសង្កេតការណ៍លោកនេះទៅកាន់ប្រទេសថៃនិងកម្ពុជានៅតំបន់បោកនៅបោក
On the 22nd February in Jakarta, the foreign ministers made a decision to send the Indonesian observers to Cambodia and Thailand in the disputed area.
កម្ពុជាតែងយកការទទួលខុសត្រូវរបស់ខ្លួនហើយដល់គិតគូរទៅដល់ការបារម្ភទាំងឡាយពាក់ព័ន្ធជាមួយនឹងចំនួនការតែជាផ្លូវរបស់គេនេះកម្ពុជាបានឆ្លើយតបភ្លាមៗជាមួយនឹងការអំពីលក្ខខណ្ឌប្រតិបត្តិដែលព្រៀងឡើងដោយលោកនេះក្នុងឋានៈជាប្រធាន
Cambodia also take its responsibility and thinks of the feeling of the other people. Therefore, Cambodia respond immediately to Indonesia for the term of reference TOR drafted by the Indonesia's chair of ASEAN.
រយៈពេលចុងក្រោយនេះគឺកម្ពុជាបានដោយសារតែការអភិវឌ្ឍនេះហើយនោះកម្ពុជាបានសម្រេចចុះហត្ថលេខាទៅលើលិខិតដូសាដើម្បីឈានទៅដល់ការកំណត់ពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងទួលនីតិនៃអ្នកសង្កេតការណ៍និងភារកិច្ចរបស់ម្ចាស់ផ្ទះទាំងកម្ពុជានិងថៃ
With the agreement, Cambodia signed letters of acceptance to the term and reference relative to the role of observers and the responsibility of the host country.
ប៉ុន្តែពេលទីថៃគឺមិនទាន់បានចុះហត្ថលេខាលើលិខិតដូសានេះទេហើយក៏មានលក្ខខណ្ឌទាក់ទិនជាមួយនឹងការដែលកម្ពុជាដកកំណត់និងប្រជាជនចេញពីតំបន់លើទឹកដីកម្ពុជា
Thailand did not sign the letters of acceptance yet, but created some conditions that Cambodia withdraw their armed forces and the people from their own territory.
រងដោយការបរទេសរបស់កម្ពុជាបានតបចោលបញ្ហាហើយម្សិលមិញខ្ញុំក៏បានបញ្ជាក់ផងដែរថាយើងមិនអាចធ្វើទៅបានទេ nơi ca để đọ con Campuchia nó phải chỉ Campuchia trên tuy tất đây Campuchia luôn này.
The foreign ministers of Cambodia reject that condition, and I myself yesterday also stressed in the meeting that it is the withdrawal of Cambodian armed forces people from our own territory is not acceptable.
โดยเฉพาะที่ออกลงแล้วบางเคยให้ข่าวมาเสริมมั้งหรือการหักโดยในการตั้งใจนะเราต้องตอบข้างในการประชุมของผู้สมัย
So you may see that yesterday it seemed that the situation was tense in our plenary meeting.
การเชื่อเลือกปัญหามันไม่จ้องของกอจะรู้ที่ก็พอได้ยืนเลือกปัญหาดาวไม่ดาวใส่ปัญหา
Cambodia raised these issues not to create a problem but to solve a problem.
นู้นโดยการแต่ปัญหามาเสริมมั้งนี้การย่อมเชื่อเป็นดักปีสาธิตขนาดเย็นเชื่อพิเศษที่สำนักประเทศในประเทศอินโดนีเซียได้เชื่อเป็นอาเซียนก็ไม่ได้ยืนวันสำรองสมบูรณ์คือการสำรองสมบูรณ์ปัญหาที่สุด
These issues that we raised have been properly considered, and the president of ASEAN has been taking high consideration and make the consideration this morning.
วิธีการของเรานะได้ยืนหายจุกน้ำแร่นะไตรปีเราเวียนมาค้างกัมพูชีมาค้างไทยดังนั้นนักดาวคุยกับดาวเนาะคือเชื่อประเทศในประเทศอินโดนีเซียแต่เชื่อประเทศอาเซียน
It is very rare that we could have such a trilateral meeting in which one side Cambodia, one side Thailand, and in the middle the president of Indonesia, chair of ASEAN.
การเป็นภาษานี้มันตอนใต้ที่การเป็นภาษาเราเวียนจะโยนไปกัมพูชีนั่นจะโยนไปไทยดีก็แต่เมื่อการจูงจนในเรามาเต็กนั้นสมรสมบูรณ์เราป้องประเทศเราได้เราดี
The discussion is not the discussion between the two prime ministers of Cambodia and Thailand, but there is also the participation from the president of Indonesia, chair of ASEAN, in providing a recommendation and suggestion.
ปัญหาในที่ประชอบประเทศนี้เราได้บริหารการเราเชื่อเราสั่งเขาก็พิธีกับปีกับประชุมไทยตัวโยกในตรองทางไอ้เลยตรองตุ๊กเรามาเคยการบอลเตะกัมพูชีเรามาเคยการบอลเตะไทยในบอลต่อทุกการนี้จะบุญเรามาเคยการบอลเตะอินโดนีเซียน้องไปจะเป็นบุญไทยเป็น
And at the end, the president of Indonesia, chair of ASEAN, provide recommendation that provide a recommendation, and this recommendation has been accepted by the two prime ministers, Cambodia and Thailand. So the foreign ministers of Cambodia, the foreign ministers of Thailand will stay another day to work with the foreign ministers of Indonesia.
ในการชื่อผู้เด็ดตีเราบอกเพียงที่ใบคือชื่อประเทศอาเซียนแต่พวกเราในอนุสักจะพูดเยอะสำหรับการใช้รับกำลังใช้
This is the role of the third party, the chairman of ASEAN, which provide recommendation to find solution.
ไว้ตั้งแต่จะไปเตยเอาเรียนการบต่อการเรียนการรู้ใช่ไหม
Why there is a need to contribute such a work?
ปัญหาก็เดินตรงขาใครมันตอนบางเจ้าหัดเลขาtừ lư lệ khăn bằng bắt đã đồng rứ hồi miền cao và trung tư nè về cao bỏ đồ để gì thế
The issues is like this because of Thai do not sign for the acceptance of term and a reference to send the Indonesian observer yet.
Thấy cho mà đưa cao và trung làm cầm cao phun đèn phun từ chuyển bốn tổng rót của bố cây cà đúng hơnเพื่อตลอดบอกเจ้าหัดเลขาตื่นลื้อและคันปรนวัดใครที่การประชุมและสเกตตื่นตามเรา
Thailand they would like to have the meeting between the general borders committees. They would like to have the coordination before they sign the acceptance of term of reference.
กัมพูชีถึงพ่อเราบอกกัมพูชีตื่นประชุมนักสังเกตการอินโดนีเซียติดต่อกัมพูชีนั่งติดต่อไทยการจับเริ่มในการประชุม CBC ย នឹងត្រូវចំណាការឡើងវិញទៀត
The Cambodian position is that we have to, the Indonesian observers had to be sent to Cambodia and Thailand, and after that we can start the meeting of the General Borders Committee meeting.
ដោយមានបំណងដើម្បីដោះស្រាយបញ្ហាព្រឹកមិញនេះខ្ញុំបានយល់ស្របមួយជំហានទៀតគឺឲ្យចុះហត្ថលេខាមុនដោយមិនទាន់ចាំបាច់បញ្ជូនអ្នកវិទ្យាការទៅដល់ទេគ្រាន់តែចុះហត្ថលេខាទៅលើលក្ខខណ្ឌប្រតិបត្តិបន្តទៅអាចបើកការប្រជុំ GBC បានទៀត
This morning I even tolerate in a way that once Thailand signed the acceptance of the term of reference, then the meeting of the General Border Committees can start immediately.
ហើយរំរែកការបោះទីហោនមកត្រៀមនឹងពិភាក្សាជាមួយនឹងសមាជិកថៃនិងសមាជិកឥណ្ឌូនេស៊ីដែលជាប្រទេសរបស់យើងនឹងអាចធ្វើសេចក្តីប្រកាសនៅពេលណាដែលមានការចុះហត្ថលេខាលើលក្ខខណ្ឌប្រតិបត្តិយើងនឹងបើកការចរចាមួយថ្ងៃក្រោយឬមួយម៉ោងក្រោយក៏បាន
Excellencies Han Hong will get himself prepared to have discussion with his counterpart from Thailand and Indonesia. Once Thailand signs the acceptance of the term and reference, we can start the meeting immediately 1 day after that or 1 hour after that.
នោះនៅត្រង់ថាបញ្ហាដែលពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងម្ដងប្រសាទព្រះវិហារនេះគឺបានទៅដល់ក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខហើយក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខក៏បានបញ្ជូនមកដល់អាស៊ានឥឡូវអាស៊ានក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌឥណ្ឌូនេស៊ីកំពុងតែដើរតួនាទីដើម្បីជួយយើងនៅក្នុងដំណើរការនេះ
The case of Premier has been sent to the UN Security Council, in which then the Security Council entrusts this mandate to ASEAN. Now ASEAN, as Indonesia as chairman, is playing the role to coordinate and facilitate this issue.
ដូច្នេះយើងចាំបាច់ត្រូវតែគោរពតួនាទីរបស់ប្រធានអាស៊ានដែលជាអ្នកសម្របសម្រួលហើយយើងមិនអាចមួយចរចាទេស្ងាត់ដោយមិនឲ្យប្រធានអាស៊ានបានទៅនោះទេ
We necessarily have to respect the role of ASEAN. We cannot just talk with each other secretly or quietly.
ម្យ៉ាងទៀតលក្ខខណ្ឌប្រតិបត្តិការយល់ព្រមទទួលអ្នកសង្កេតការណ៍របស់នេះក៏បានធ្វើក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌរដ្ឋមន្ត្រីការបរទេសអាស៊ានតាំងពីថ្ងៃ22ខែកុម្ភៈរួចមកហើយក្រុមលក្ខខណ្ឌប្រតិបត្តិនេះក៏បានកែតម្រូវរហូតដល់7លើករួចទៅហើយដែរ
The acceptance of the Indonesian observers has been agreed in the meeting of the foreign ministers of ASEAN on the 22nd of February. And the term of reference has been made correction 7 times already.
ហើយកាលពេលនោះក៏គ្មានការទាមទារណាមួយឲ្យដកកម្លាំងឬប្រជាជនកម្ពុជាចេញឬក៏គ្មានការទាមទារណាមួយឲ្យប្រជុំ GBC មុនពេលលក្ខខណ្ឌប្រតិបត្តិនេះចុះហត្ថលេខាដែរ
Then there were no demand to withdraw Cambodian armed forces and people. There were no demand to have a meeting of General Borders Committee before the signing of TOR.
ពិតមែនតែខ្ញុំមិនតាន់ប្រកាសវិជាថាវាអាចទៅរួចក៏ប៉ុន្តែយ៉ាងណាក៏ដោយបរិយាកាសនៃការប្រជុំព្រឹកនេះមានការទូស្រាល
I'm not sure whether it can go forward or not, but at least the atmosphere of this meeting is good.
ខ្ញុំក៏សូមបញ្ជាក់ជូនអស់លោកស្រីអ្នកតាយាឲ្យបានជ្រាបថាជំហររបស់កម្ពុជាពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅនឹងបញ្ហាជំលោះព្រំដែនកម្ពុជាថៃនេះគឺមានពីរចំណុចសំខាន់បែកចែកជាទិដ្ឋភាពពីរបែប
I would like to stress that the Cambodian position vis-a-vis the problem, dispute about the problem between Cambodia and Thailand can be divided into 2 aspects.
ទិដ្ឋភាពមួយបែបគឺទិដ្ឋភាពនៃតំបន់ជំលោះនៃប្រាសាទព្រះវិហារដែលមានសង្គ្រាមទូទីធំកាលពីខែកុម្ភៈទិដ្ឋភាពនេះរាល់ការចរចាណាមួយត្រូវតែមានការចូលរួមពីទូអង្គអាស៊ាន
One aspect is the area of Trevihir temples, in which there was a clash, there was a war in February. So any talks to solve this problem need the participation from Indonesia.
ដោយសាររឿងនេះវាបានទៅដល់ក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខហើយក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខក៏បានផ្ដល់ទួនាទីឲ្យអាស៊ានក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌប្រធានអាស៊ានដែលទទួលអំណាចពីក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខត្រូវតែមានការចូលពាក់ព័ន្ធទៅក្នុងបញ្ហានៅក្នុងតំបន់នេះ
Because these issues has been submitted to the UN Security Council, and UN Security Council has entrusted this role to ASEAN. So ASEAN has the mandate to participate in these issues.
ឯតំបន់ក្រៅពីនោះដូចជាការប្រយុទ្ធគ្នានៅតំបន់ប្រាសាទតាម៉ុននិងប្រាសាទតាក្របីដែលនៅចម្ងាយប្រមាណជាង100 គីឡូម៉ែត្រពីប្រាសាទតារីយើងដំណើរការចរចាទ្វេភាគីគ្រប់កម្រិត
The area outside the Peri temple, let's say the areas of the temple of Tamon and Takrabai, which has the fighting there and which is more than 100 kilometers from the Peri temple, the solution can be carried out by the talk between the two parties, Cambodia and Thailand.
ព្រមទាំងខ្ញុំបានប្រាប់នាយករដ្ឋមន្ត្រីអភិសិទ្ធក៏ដូចជាប្រធានាធិបតីឥណ្ឌូនេស៊ីថាយន្តការទ្វេភាគីទាំងអស់កម្ពុជាមិនទាន់រំលាយចោលយន្តការណាមួយនៅឡើយទេ
This morning I told Excellency's Prime Minister's officer as well as the President of Indonesia that so far no bilateral mechanism has been cancelled, has been put to an end.
បញ្ហាស្ថិតនៅត្រង់ថាដោយសារមានការចូលពាក់ព័ន្ធរបស់ក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខនិងជាពិសេសគឺនៅក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌអាស៊ានការចរចាក្នុងតំបន់ប្រាសាទព្រះវិហារត្រូវតែមានការចូលពាក់ព័ន្ធរបស់អាស៊ាន
So as the issues of there has been lodged to the UN Security Council and entrusted the role to ASEAN. So any talks about this area has to need the participation of Indonesia.
ហើយតំបន់ដទៃទៀតគឺយើងអាចចរចាទ្វេភាគីដូចជាជំនួប11ថ្ងៃការប្រយុទ្ធ11ថ្ងៃ11យប់នៅតំបន់ប្រាសាទតាម៉ុនប្រាសាទតាក្របីនៅក្នុងខេត្តឧត្តរមេឃីយើងខ្ញុំបានប្រើប្រាស់វិធីសាស្ត្រកម្ពុជានិងថៃដោះស្រាយនិងគ្រប់គ្រងបញ្ហាដោយខ្លួនឯងដោយមិនអភិរក្សឲ្យក្រុមប្រឹក្សាសន្តិសុខឬអាស៊ានជួយពាក់ព័ន្ធទៀត
For the other areas, like the areas of Tamon, the temple of Tamon and Takrabai, then there were the fighting there 11 days and nights in the province of Indonesia. We solved this problem bilaterally without involvement of the UN Security Council nor ASEAN.
ជាការសន្និដ្ឋានរបស់ខ្ញុំយល់ថាទោះបីជាមានបញ្ហាការលើកឡើងនៅក្នុងក្របខ័ណ្ឌពីម្សិលនិងថ្ងៃនេះក៏ប៉ុន្តែនឹងមានការទូទៅទាំងមិត្តភ័ក្តិអាស៊ានទាំងខាងភាគីកម្ពុជានិងភាគីថៃសុទ្ធតែតម្រង់ពោះទៅរកការកាត់បន្ថយការភាពតានតឹងបញ្ជៀសនៅការជំនួសប្រដាប់អាវុធនិងឈានទៅរកការដោះស្រាយដោយសន្តិវិធីលើគ្រប់បញ្ហា
I can make the conclusion that even there was some issues, this issue has been raised yesterday and today, but the general trend is that Cambodia as well as Thailand, we're trying to do anything to thaw the tension, to contain the armed clashes and to solve the problem peacefully.
កម្ពុជានិងថៃខ្លួនឯងក៏បានចង់ឲ្យមានជម្លោះហើយមិត្តភ័ក្តិអាស៊ានរបស់យើងក៏បានចង់ឲ្យមានជម្លោះហើយក៏ចង់ដោះស្រាយជម្លោះនេះដោយសន្តិវិធីតាមរយៈនៃការចរចាដោយមានការចូលរួមសម្របពីសំណាក់ប្រធានអាស៊ាននិងពីតួអង្គកម្ពុជានិងថៃនៃយន្តការដែលវាស្រាប់
Cambodia as well as Thailand don't want the dispute. And the friends of Cambodia and Thailand, friends of ASEAN, would like this problem to be resolved peacefully by negotiation. So even the chairman of ASEAN or Cambodia and Thailand would like to solve this problem peacefully.
សម្រាប់ខ្ញុំមកកាន់ទីនេះក៏មិនមែនមកបង្កសង្គ្រាមជាសម្ដីនោះទេក៏ប៉ុន្តែមកបញ្ជាក់បង្ហាញជូនថាសភាពការវាបានវិវត្តពោះទៅរកការដោះស្រាយបញ្ហាគ្រាន់តែការដោះស្រាយបញ្ហាវាមិនដូចបំណងប្រាថ្នាដែលយើងចង់បានទេ
I'm coming here not to create the war of words, but just to make the situation in a way that to tell the involvement, the development of the situation, and we would like to solve this problem.
ដល់លោកអ្នកត្រូវតែដឹងថាការចរចាវាលំបាកក៏ប៉ុន្តែទោះបីលំបាកយ៉ាងណាវាក៏ប្រសើរជាងការស្លាប់ជីវិតមនុស្សរបួសនិងខូចខាតទ្រព្យសម្បត្តិប្រជាពលរដ្ឋដែរយើងប្រសើរជាងវា
Negotiation talking is difficult, but however it's still allowing the people, the soldiers to die, to get bombed, the property destroyed, rather than to have war.
ខ្ញុំសូមយកឱកាសនេះដើម្បីសម្ដែងនៃការអរគុណចំពោះសារសេវកក្នុងក្រមខណ្ឌអាស៊ានហើយជាពិសេសចំពោះឥណ្ឌូនេស៊ីដែលបានដើរតួនាទីយ៉ាងសកម្មនៅក្នុងការសម្របសម្រួលបញ្ហាក្រវ៉ាត់
I'd like to take this opportunity to express our thanks to ASEAN colleagues, especially Indonesia, who have been proactive in solving these issues.
ឥឡូវនេះខ្ញុំបញ្ចប់ត្រឹមប៉ុណ្ណេះហើយដោយសារតែពេលវេលាបណ្ដាប្រព្រឹត្តខ្ញុំសង្ឃឹមថាខ្ញុំបានបើកឱកាសសម្រាប់ការសួររបស់លោកនេះហើយខ្ញុំក៏និយាយក៏វាថាដូចជាអស់បញ្ហាទៅហើយដែរ
Now I complete my briefing here. As the time is a constraint, I will not allow Q&A because what I said is to cover all the issues already. Thank you.